Yeah, you are.
Hello.
Hold on.
There we go. We're back.
We're on. We're not on. This is all because you were trying to kill me.
I wasn't trying to kill you. How does this get blamed on me? You're the one who had the coughing fit.
And you're the one that bought the new candle.
I bought a new candle, but I'm not sure that that's the reason that you're coughing.
Maybe I don't have things. Maybe I have a bunch of things I don't want to say to you. So I've been holding it in, and then I got around you, and all
that's your issue. That's your issue of not communicating.
Yeah, no, I got nothing.
Yeah, you got nothing because it is your fault, not mine. No. Anyway.
But sometimes we don't communicate.
Sometimes we don't communicate. You're right.
We don't communicate pieces.
Yeah, you're right. There are lots of times we don't communicate. I know. I love how you're like, let's try to weave this back into our conversation.
We'll leave it back.
You're right. There's lots of times we don't communicate the things in our lives, the pieces of ourselves, the thoughts going on in our heads, just who we are, really.
So today's talk is about honoring
the pieces.
Honoring the pieces. And you have too much of the screen hog.
Oh, you're the one who set the camera up.
See, it's a little bit more equal.
They want to see me more anyway.
They're not going to miss you in that one shirt.
I know. I never wear that shirt. It's cozy, though. It's cozy.
Like, I'm all muted.
I know, and I'm orange.
Bam.
Bam.
I was like, hello. The sun's not out, but Addison's shining bright.
Yes. No. But you came in and because we never plan, we don't usually plan these topics. It's rare that we have our topic prior to, because we want it to be organic. We want it to really flow with what's going on. And we found that in past, when we have planned topics, it just doesn't feel as fluid and flowy. And it's not, in truth, it's not as real and authentic.
And this is a thing for coaches, because I've just recently, a few weeks ago, I was on the union show, and us four coaches, when we got together, they did not script out what the topic was until about 4 or 5 days before, and we went through and we just shared pieces of we're going through in our life on our back thread. Each one of us was like, hey, this is who I am, this is what's happening in my life, this is where I came from, blah, 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 blah. Here's some of my notes. And we had some prompts, and we just answered those prompts. And then the person who went in to look at that, they put all four coaches together, and then they pulled out the common threads, and that's what we talked about, was that common thread. But we had it like maybe 4 days notice of, oh, this is what the topic is. We're doing this for like 2 months. We knew we were doing the show, but 4 days before, the topic actually was birthed, because we wanted it to be very relevant to the moment. And the whole thing is that if we as coaches are going through something and we're experiencing something, and with and we're having this noticing of the people that we're working with and the communications that we're getting, then that means that we're going to also hit a lot of people out there who are just grabbing the free content and going, oh wow, what's that little tidbit about? And today, when I walked in, you were like, hey, what about this?
What about this?
And then we started talking about this, and then it was like, oh well, that's more fitting for what
going
you're
on,
writing, what I've written, what clients are going through, what we're going through, and so honoring the pieces.
Yeah, and this kind of came into my mind, like my piece of this, the pieces live stream kind of came in because the other day I went out with a new friend, and this friend doesn't know me very well. Like, we are just building our friendship. And I was sharing different stuff about my past and where I've come from. And this other woman was like, what? Like, how is that true that was you, Addison? How is that true that you were, because I told her about like my teenage years and my eating disorder and really hating on my body and myself, and like deep, dark, like cutting, like horrible stuff I did to myself. And she's like, what? I can't picture that. And then I also shared with her a couple of moments that I had when I was really opening up my sexuality and like really fearful, and also even some nostalgia I was having about some stuff that has happened in the past. And I just watched her face, and she was like really? really like all she could see is the woman in front of her, even though I was sharing the pieces. And it was a beautiful conversation, but it really got me thinking about how so often the people in our lives can't see anything but what is right in front of them.
I know you and I've had numerous conversations through the years.
Yeah.
And you've asked me different questions, and I've been like, oh my gosh, back when this, you know, boom, boom, boom.
And I've been like, that's how
like,
I remember.
What? That you didn't do that. You didn't think like that. No way. I can't even imagine that.
Yeah.
But that's the pieces of my history. I'm going to dispose of the
She's
candle.
going to dispose of the candle because obviously my new candle
I love the
is
smell.
not good for her.
I love the smell.
Killing Kendall
It's
live.
driving me.
I should have.
killing
If
me,
I'm gonna
it's
kill
killing
you,
me.
I don't want to kill you on a live stream. That would be bad.
No.
I have to
no,
do that.
You're caught.
Shit secret.
Seriously.
But you're right. We've had lots of conversations, and there's times that you've told me stuff, and I'm like, yeah, like I can't imagine. And I think because I think as you build a relationship, you can feel into those pieces of somebody. But in truth, I can never truly grasp who Kendall was at 16, 17 years old.
I wasn't dying of a candle.
So I can't grasp. Oh wow, that's really noisy. I truly can't grasp who she was at 16, 17 years old. And you can't grasp from where you met me. And I think it is this, what I'm seeing in my clients and stuff right now is, especially like couples and stuff, people really, it's not even that they can't grasp the other person, like being in that space, because I think that is a normal process of like, you can't go back just when somebody was 16, 17, you can't ever fully grasp that. But there also comes this energy of, I don't want to grasp that. And I think that is where we get into trouble. It's like, no, I like you how you are or how you're presenting. And there really are these pieces, so many pieces of self that we don't show, that we don't even show our freaking selves, might as well other people. But it is when we don't want to look at our own pieces, and then those that we're in relationship to also don't want to see those pieces of us. And that is where we create massive conflict, massive inauthenticity.
Because we're not being authentic. We're not having those vulnerability moments. Mm-hmm. There's been plenty of times that I've sat with a lover and shared pieces. Mm-hmm. And had those moments that, like this, that awareness of like, wow, this, and dealt with their shame and my shame and the funny stories and the not so funny stories and the dark aspects of like, wow, yeah, I really was that dark at one point. I really did do that. But that's not me today. Mm-hmm. And people do not share those pieces, and then they get into relationship. Like they get really. And it happens in friendship, and it definitely happens in love, intimate relationships. Over and over again, I'll be sitting with, sorry men, but you're really good at this. It really is guys. It really is guys.
Beep, 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 you're going under the bus.
All right, well, I beat women up in my article today, so I'm going to back the bus over the men right now. But it is that I see, and I know that you deal a lot with single guys too. And how many times do we hear with single men that they're like, well, I just, she's so pretty and I know she's so out of my league. I've got to grab her while she's like falling off of a rock. I don't know what she's smoking, but like, she's into me. So I'm going to run with this. I'm going to run with it, and I'm buying a ring tomorrow. How long have you known her? Oh, I've known her for 2 weeks. Oh, I've known her for 2 months. Oh, we're moving in together. It's been 90 days. It's been amazing. I see her once or twice a week. The sex is great. She makes me feel wonderful. She's so beautiful. She's blah, blah, blah.
She texts me all the time because she really cares.
She texts me all the time. She's this, she's that. She's like, oh my gosh. So we're moving in together. Like, we've known each other for how long? 2 months, 3 months. Like, seriously, 60 days, 90 days. I really feel like she is an amazing woman. She's absolutely, they get into the relationship, they get into that, they move in, and all of a sudden, excuse my French, but she turns into a crazy bitch, right? Like, she's all of a sudden on their butts, and she's this whole other aspect. Things change when you're actually sleeping in bed next to each other.
Yep.
Things change when you're paying bills. Things change when you're dealing with the children,
life stress, and
the household, and you know, all of the schedules and all that kind of stuff. And then you start to see all these pieces. Oh, I didn't realize that they actually drank vodka every single night, and they drink a half a bottle of vodka every single night because I wasn't around them. I thought that we were just having a couple drinks because we were going out for a couple days. It was fun. You know, they said social drinker on their, you know, on their profile. Right? It said social drinking. It didn't say I drink a half a bottle of vodka every single night. Or you know, or no, I exercise. I go to gym. Yeah, no, she doesn't exercise. No, he doesn't exercise. I mean, whatever.
Or he's so funny. Oh, he makes me laugh. You know, I'm so serious. He's never serious. He just really lights up my world. And then you're here and you're going,
just take something serious.
Just take it. We're trying to have a good conversation here.
Just have a real conversation. Yeah. I need you to be an adult right now.
Yeah.
I need you to be.
Yeah.
And then you move into this couplehood, and I have all these couples. I know you got a few couples too. And what's the biggest issues in couplehood? It's all of this stuff, and it's because people don't slow down and take the time to actually explore the pieces, to have the conversations, to have the vulnerable conversations,
communication,
to slowly build that relationship. And slow is not 2 months. Slow is 2 years. Slow is 3 years, because new relationship energy on any relationship is anywhere from 6 months to 18 months, sometimes 2 years. Yeah. And we can actually, there's numerous cases that last up to 3 years, where all of a sudden, you know, somebody shifts. And over again, I'll hear people say, everything was amazing. And then we got married, and, you know, within the first year, stuff started happening. And the personality of my partner just changed. And for the last 10 years, it's like I've been living with a total stranger. How long did you date? Oh, we dated 6 months. Oh, we dated 3 months. Oh, well, what was that dating like? Oh, well, we did this, we did that. When did you move in together? Oh, after 3 months, after 6 months, we moved in together. We, you know, well, everything was going great. Everything was amazing. We just wanted to spend all this time together. So then we moved in together after that. And it's like, well, but you didn't really know the person. Oh, no, I know that person. No, you don't. You met the person after 2-3 years of being in a relationship. Then you met that person, because now you are starting to see all those pieces, all those old programs, the things that get triggered, because much like you were talking about, when I walked in, you were saying, I heard this song and it triggered this.
It triggered this memory. I heard this other song and it triggered this memory.
Right? And that's a triggering of memory, which brings an energy with it. Mm-hmm. So you've got your partner now standing in the kitchen, and a song comes on, and a negative memory gets triggered that you don't know about. But this memory triggers a trauma from the past. Now this person is all of a sudden slamming dishes in the sink. And you're like, what the heck? You know, and all of a sudden full of anxiety and frustration and everything. And you're going, what? And they're just leave me alone. You always do that to me. You always attack me. Why are you on me about this? And you're like, whoa. I just had a conversation with my son-in-law this morning. And we stood in the kitchen for an hour and a half with him talking to me about stuff. It was a beautiful, beautiful conversation. It was about pieces, actually. And him talking about how, you know, in his former marriage, how all of this stuff was happening. And now he's witnessing himself reacting to my daughter, his partner, right, in certain ways. And he goes, whoa, I have to come back after I have that reaction. I have to go get a breather. And then I have to come back and go, that was not for you. That wasn't for you. That was actually a reaction. I was treating you a way that you don't deserve to be treated, because that's not I know that you didn't do anything. You're just here. You're just here, and whatever triggered it. And so I treated you in the energy of what my ex was giving me, instead of what you were giving me in this moment. And those are those pieces that, you know, in relationship really breaks down, because that causes trauma.
It does. It breaks the relationship down. It also is why we create relationships again and again and again that are the same, because we're
same
actually
relationship, different face. Yep.
Number one, we're calling that in because of our energy, but number two, we also create it because it is the patterns we have been in, and we're not sharing all these pieces of self, and so we end up reacting like your son-in-law in the same ways. He happened to be noticing and going, this is an old trigger.
Right.
But most people are not that conscious of taking the time and going, oh wow, that actually was that's from back there. I apologize, like this was not for you. Most people don't realize that. Most people don't realize that within self. Might as well own that with a partner. And I think the key is really the communication, because we don't know what's going to get triggered or when it's going to get triggered, and we cannot tell. No one will ever be able to know all of us, because we don't even know all of us.
And it comes out through the course of time.
But it's the communication.
You have to communicate it, and you have to give time for it to be communicated.
Yeah.
And what I see a lot is that we don't want to own the pieces of the other person. We want to see, oh, I like this picture that you're giving me. I like this cover that you're presenting to me.
So
I'm going to buy this cover, but I don't really want to know what's in the book. I don't want to know what's in the book. So we're just going to buy the cover, and let's just have a cover relationship.
Yeah.
But I want depth.
I want orgasmic sex. I want this beautiful romantic relationship.
I want you to really be into me. I want to really be into you. I want you to be my best friend. I want this. I want. But I want it all from just the cover. I don't want to listen to the songs. I don't want to hear the songs I don't like. I don't want to hear this, the songs that you really love that you like to hit replay on a couple times that had nothing to do with me.
That brings up jealousy. That brings up rage. That brings up anger, insecurity.
Right. No, we're just going to do it just the cover. Just the cover. Like, just move, and let's see how long we can progress with that. And I don't want the cover to ever get messed up. Please never spill your coffee on this cover. Never tear the cover. Never draw on it. Let's not have any wear and tear of the cover at all. I want it to just remain like this for all time and space.
Botox that cover.
Botox the cover.
Botox that cover.
Oh man, I saw a woman the other day. I'm sorry, this is a funny story.
Tie out. Rabbit trail.
People are used to me.
This is how we roll.
I took a hike. So Saturday I got up and I took my kids out to Home Depot and we did a building project. And from there we went straight out and we did a hike out. Awesome park here in Dallas area. And I went out with my son-in-law who I was having a conversation with this morning, and his 3 little ones, and then my oldest daughter and baby, and my 2 little ones, and we're walking down, and there was this couple, and my oldest daughter, bless her, she's ahead of me, and she's got the baby stroller. She's got a 10-month-old, and she's got a baby stroller, and she's walking, and this couple walks past her, and they're all, power walking.
Yeah.
Like, they're power walking. And this woman has her hair pulled up like that, and she's got, she had makeup on as thick as, I'm telling, it was airbrushed on, but it wasn't doing her any favors. And it was just, it was so, oh my gosh, the book.
Cover. It was a cover.
My daughter, she turns and she looks at me and she goes, like that. I'm trying not to have a face, but
you're like, don't be judgy, don't be judgy.
I'm trying not to be judgy. I'm trying to just keep walking, right? Just keep walking. But it's plastic surgery gone wrong in all the wrong ways on this poor woman's face. And my daughter's just like, whoa. Talk about Botox.
And we get into that because we want to wear a cover.
But here's the thing. That's the point. It's not the judginess of it. That's the point. It was funny. And yes, I was being judgy. And yes, my daughter was being judgy.
All judgy at times.
Human,
Welcome to being human.
And we're all judge all the time.
Yep.
But I'm owning that right now. The story of it is that she was so caught up in trying to, she couldn't make eye contact with me. She was like, whoa, like that, like a scared little squirrel, but at the same time, she's trying to present this image. And I'm like, you have been working so hard at presenting this cover image for all these years. You now are like a 45-year-old woman that looks like a 90-year-old with really bad Botox. And it's because you have done all of this work to just present a cover because you're so scared of everything that's inside. And what do you have inside that can be possibly that bad? I'm like, you're not behind bars. You're out here walking in, a very affluent area and everything. You're all this different stuff. You don't have anything back there that's that bad. That's bad. Come on. So you got some trauma. You've done some crap. That you haven't made.
Join the club.
You're human.
Join the club.
You're human. But we're trying to hide behind literally masks. Literally to the point that we will basically put on all this other skin to hide behind so that we're not actually seen. But then we want
the depth. We want the connection.
We want the connection. We want to be loved. We want to be seen. We want to be felt. We want to be heard. And we wonder, why are we so empty? Where is this void coming from? Why can I not connect? Why can I not,
And it comes from the masks. It comes from the pieces we ourselves don't want to own, or our partners also don't want to see or own. I was dating somebody a couple months back, and this guy he didn't inquire. He refused to ask me questions. He refused to ask me questions about pieces of my life that were actually important. And anytime, it's funny you bring up like the song thing. I was like, this is a song came on the radio when we were driving one night. I was like, this is a really like impactful song for me. And I told him about actually a really positive moment. And I was like, yeah, this moment changed how I interact with guys for the rest of my life. And it was a beautiful, powerful moment. And he got so insecure and so like shut down. And I watched him go, energetically, I don't want to know that piece of you. I don't want to know that piece of you. That's too much. That was the moment I went, and this relationship is over officially. Because I'm like, in order to help grow with someone, you don't need to know all pieces of them, but the pieces that are being presented, you have to go, okay, I can hold that. You don't always have to love all pieces. Sometimes I'm a crazy bitch. Sometimes I'm a crazy bitch. The people who...
You shouldn't expect to love every piece of somebody.
The pieces, sometimes I can get into my crazy bitch mode too, and I don't expect my friends, families, lovers to go, oh, like that's a good character trait. Keep that going. But I hope that they will go, okay, we're gonna hold you in this, like over here while you do your crazy, and then we're here. That is love. It's going, okay, we see this, and this is a piece of you, but we also see these other pieces of you too. So the problem happens when you've got too many of the negative pieces and going on, and the positive, and that's a whole different conversation.
Self-help stuff, and doing the work internally on yourself, so that you are not, so that those pieces, because you said earlier, you're like, because you were talking about your teen years and your eating disorder and everything when we were first
and cutting and that,
like,
all that was,
and you made the statement, you're like, because I still am that girl. I still am that girl. And it's like, well, yeah, we are still those, all of that from our past is still here with us.
Yep.
And it doesn't mean that we have to react. A lot of the times what happens in people who don't do their work, who don't do that internal work and really fall in love with themselves, because that's what healing is about, is to learn how to love self. But when we don't fall in love with ourselves, then we're not healing. And then what happens is those pieces, they might be in the past, but they're constantly coming up and biting us right now in the butt, and sabotaging our current and our future, because we haven't actually learned to love those pieces of ourselves and have compassion for ourselves in those moments. Whereas
that's my scared little girl.
So that's my scared little girl. That doesn't mean that I'm going to run off and start cutting myself.
Yeah.
I know that's not a loving act to do, right? But you can go, but man, I'm feeling the insecurity. I'm feeling that I felt here, and I can recognize it as that's my scared little girl. That's my little girl that's trying to take control of something. That's this, that's that. But that doesn't mean that I have to actually do this now.
Yeah.
But a lot of people,
or to put even on a mask on it, to go, okay, yeah, I'm in my scared little girl right now, and I'm gonna move through it, and I don't need to.
So it's like, you don't want to shove it underneath the carpet. You don't want to act on it in the current from that past energy, because now we're just bringing that energy into the current and keeping ourselves at a low vibration. But we need to own it and love it and have compassion for it and go, okay, this is what it is, and I can love myself right now for right where I'm at, but I'm not going to get caught back in.
And this isn't who I am.
It's not
right now.
It's something that got triggered.
Yeah.
And it's just an old energy that's getting triggered in that moment. And as soon as you own something, which means call it out, which means see it, claim it. Hey, that's what it is. That's what owning is. It's not like this is me. That's not the ownership. It's not like this is my disease, this is my negativity, this is my, no, owning it is a calling out of just, I see it for what it is. This is my scared little girl. This is, my wounded, masculine. This is whatever that piece, however you title it. And that right there, and you can go, well, all right, so that's what it is. And I can have compassion for myself. I can see how that got triggered. And
yeah. And if you love somebody in truth, you also have to be willing to see all those pieces of them and not run and recognize when their piece triggers your piece. Because sometimes that happens. Sometimes it's like, well, your scared little girl is triggering my macho masculine and from when I was 16, and that's not working right now. To recognize when somebody else's pieces are triggering your pieces, because that happens all the time. And then to have that conversation or have that break and own, still love that other person and where they're at.
Pieces, we come together.
And
we've even said, we mirror each other on different things consistently. And people may not believe that because of our different personalities.
Crap at each other,
we trigger each other consistently. And we mirror each other in stuff that we're going through in a lot of the time. So we're constantly learning from each other. Every relationship is like that. Yes. Steve and I know that I deliberately trigger him because I'm here's some more of my pieces. Here's some more of my pieces. Can you accept this? And I'm always going give me yours too. Bring
it.
It's
such a feminine, here, let me poke you. Let me challenge you.
Stand in my fire. And David Dita turns, right? Stand in my fire. Here you go. You handle it.
And he's having to go,
breathe.
I can be my masculine.
Right.
I can be my masculine.
Dishing it out. But doing it also with the understanding of that I know that I'm going to trigger him into different stuff. But that right there is what relationship is like. A relationship that doesn't get triggered, a relationship that doesn't have some mirroring going on is not a positive relationship.
Nope.
It's not a relationship that's expanding you. It's not growing you. It's not teaching you how to love yourself, how to, love another. It does nothing for you. And it's just, those are the ones that are just we're just going to get through, just put on the blinders and let's just try to survive life. Ain't going to happen. We die at the end of life, everybody. So we're not surviving it.
Yeah.
So, but that's the kind of
mindset. It's how can we keep that heartbeat like this for our entire lives instead of being no, this is good. We need to trigger. We need to have that.
But if you're constantly triggering,
that's also an issue.
Now that's wounded again because now we're just acting out of ego. So it's there's no ownership in it. Now we're doing the game, the blaming. Yeah. And it's just really finding that. But the owning of the pieces and inquiry of other people's pieces. Get to know the people that you're...
Because guess what? I don't care if you've been married for 50 years, you still don't know that entire person. You don't. No, you can never know that entire person.
Every single day, you are with somebody new. Every single day. It does not matter. Every relationship that you come in contact with, whether it is the person that you're waking up next to, or your best friend, or your child, or people at work, whatever it is, these are new relationships every single day because that person has changed. Incremental little changes, over the course of time, that creates a whole new personality, a whole new, viewpoint on life, what's going on mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. Everything shifts and changes.
Even stories you've heard.
Yeah.
Guess what?
You go to the grocery store and have a conversation with a random stranger. You think nothing of it, but that story stays with you for a lifetime. It changed you. That energy. Somebody gave you a look when you were ready to basically do something really stupid in your life, and somebody looked at you and smiled and just said, "Today's going to be a good day." Like that, that. And all of a sudden, you don't do what you were thinking of doing, or you go, "Wow, there's a little bit of hope," or "Whoa, that was a God moment," or what have you. That's a total stranger that changed you forever. And now you go home and you talk to the person that you wake up to. They're meeting a whole new person because you've had all of these experiences that has gone in, and just little subtle changes, sometimes not so subtle, but subtle changes on the big scope of things, and constantly. I walked in and you were in this total, I was whoa, that color looks great on you. And then she's talking to me, I'm maybe it's not the shirt, maybe it's just,
I was I'm in a good mood, a good energy, had some stuff happen.
Accrediting the shirt for it, but it's you, And it's because you had all of this, even though you were over at my house for dinner last night. So really, you just came home, you slept, you worked a little bit.
Went to chiropractic.
Right? Right? You didn't have anything.
That chiropractor just changed my life.
He did. He adjusted you. He told you that shirt looked good on you.
He did.
Getting confirmation that you look good today. Like that. You know, but it's like little changes, little incremental steps. And some of it seems like it's nothing.
But it's always important.
Pieces building the version of you that you are in any given moment.
Yeah. So, all that to say, check out your own pieces. Yeah. Check out your own pieces, and then freaking inquire about the people in your life and their pieces. Listen, and when I say listen, I don't mean hear. I mean listen between the lines, between what they're saying, for those pieces, for what they're truly saying. Because what's coming out of our mouth is not the communication.
Oh gosh, no.
It's like, what is this I challenge you to go, what is this person really, if you hear a story and you're like, this is like a random story, usually it's not random. Actually, those are some of the most important times, because it's like, why is this person telling me this right now? What are they trying to share with me in this moment? And to really think about that. So,
yeah, those are valuable moments.
Yeah. So,
what do you have?
I have a puja this weekend. I have a lover's toga party next week. And then I have
You're at Grand Central Station on parties.
I am on Party Central right now. And then I have a online workshop in the works. It's a 4-week workshop, but I'm not announcing it yet. So if you're a woman and you are wanting to step into your hunger, your desire, your appetite for life, then keep an eye out on my page, addisonbell.net, and you can join me for a 4-week intensive. So,
wow. You told me a little bit about it.
Yep. So,
well, I'm going to throw our asses on the line. So we are off to New York City in April.
Oh, I'm like,
and we have not built this yet, but it's coming, up and coming. So we did this we're doing this random trip to New York because we hate to travel and we don't have enough travel already scheduled for the first half of the year. That somebody,
since in like 3 weeks we're going to be in St. Thomas.
We're going to be in St. Thomas in 3 weeks. But somebody decided that we need to also go to New York. So we are going to be teaching a really cool workshop. And you're going to see the announcements. It's called Sex in the City. Oh, yes, we're playing on that. And it's going to be talking about like modern sex. Like, what is this world of sex about in dating and relationship, and definitely like in a city.
And a big city, crazy,
busy,
and
a bustle,
because that's what we're living in.
Right, that's what we're living in. Whether we are coupled or single, we are living in that crazy. So that's coming out. Personally, I have Pathways to Relationships, which will be coming out. It'll be an online global workshop coming out for couples and singles, and we're going to be talking about intimacy, vulnerability, communication, love, and desire, all on that. So it's going to be an intensive workshop for just building those pathways to relationship, because these are the different ways that we relate. These are the things that are those foundational tools for all relationship. And then I also have coming out, which is in the works, which you know about it, but you don't know about it. And it's a 5-week program. I just said I was working on it. And it's all about the vagus nerve.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Yes.
I'm like,
and anybody who's learned anything
keeping me on my toes. I'm like, what's going on?
Well, I get a lot of people because my integration work, my tantric integration work, definitely activates the vagus nerve. And I've done a lot of work with the vagus nerve stimulation for self, and I know the benefits of it. And there is so much that we can do to stimulate our vagus nerves for self. So I am putting together a group coaching, 5-week program, group coaching, that will be available to globally.
I'll be there, I'm sure.
To a whole bunch of people, where we're going to learn about how to activate the vagus nerve, the steps that we can do to heal. So this is going to help with anxiety and stress and connection and sensitivity, so that we can actually feel more physically and be able to process our emotions at a greater capacity. And I just think that I know my one-on-one clients, it's stuff that I do with them and things that they're learning. So now I'm going to just adapt it a little bit and do it as a group coaching program for 5 weeks. So look for that to come out.
That's awesome. Well, it's been fun. We'll see you in 2 weeks. AddisonBell.net
and KendallWilliams.com.
Bye.